Hey there everybody, Dan here, and today I've got another PTCGO game for you. This was another one that was taken from my stream that I did just a couple of days ago. If you haven't seen that, you can go and check out the full recording of the stream on my channel, and I'll put a link for that in the description below or on your screen, either one. Today I've got a Darkrai mirror match. It's a bit different though. He is playing a Darkrai Mewtwo variant, and I am playing Darkrai Hydreigon, It's actually my Battle Roads winning list, so it'll be interesting to see that back in action. I don't think it's the most optimum list now with the high rise in Rayquaza Eels, but anyway. He gets a mulligan and I see double colorless, which it does tell me he runs kind of Mewtwo because there's no point running double colorless either. I got a weird hand, to be honest, and he goes first, which immediately gives him an advantage. He does get an energy attachment and an Eviolite, and he's straight off with the N. So the N I don't mind too much, it saves me playing mine because I would have had to in that turn, and I'm only starting with a single Darkrai. Interestingly, he retreats into his Sableye, not sure why. He didn't really need to. There's no threat of an attack from the first turn. Maybe he was just predicting some kind of Confuse Ray, which might have happened. But I just go for a level ball. I do debate getting a Sableye here, but I do need a Dino in play straight away. I also debate getting the Sableye with an Ultra Ball. It means I can get some Dark Energy into discard pile, and I've actually got a decent hand. But first I go for the Cheren to see if I do get any parts of Hydreigon, which it'll kind of tilt my decision of whether to get a Sableye or whether to get a Dino. It's pretty unlikely he'll get a Night Spear turn 1 with the start he's had, but I do want to get that extra Dino into play just in case. I only play one Sableye, so I do want to keep it for when I need it, basically. Running one Sableye in this list is a flaw right now, I think. You will see later on in the game I do miss it after it gets KO'd, but this is a list I'm working with now, so let's just get to it. So I do just attach to my Darkrai. I don't attach the blend just in case he's playing some kind of hammers as well, because Enhanced Hand will just get that straight away, and I just pass to his turn. So it doesn't look like he's got a great hand to work with. He's got a Sableye in the active with no energy on it, and we'll just see what he can do. I don't think he's got much decent to Junk Hunt either, which is kind of annoying for him. And he takes a few seconds just to think over his board position, and he does get another Darkrai with an Eviolite on it. That's not too bad. The more Eviolites in play the better, because I do play multiple Tool Scrappers in this deck, and I've also got Giratina as well to sweep them up later on. He random receivers into an N, which I'm sure is not what he wanted to see, and he random receivers again and sees another N, so I'm sure he was looking for something else, maybe a Cheren or Bianca or something, and he's able to get them back with Sableye, of course, so it's not a wasted card to play. And he does play the N, so that's the second N he's played, which is good for me. It means I have 4 Ns left, he only has 2, and pretty much allows me to predict the late game a bit better. He does get the energy onto his Sableye and opts to use Confuse Ray instead, so I'm pretty much predicting he definitely has a supporter or a way out in his hand. Otherwise he would have got the random receivers, and I get end into a pretty amazing hand. I've got Rare Candy Hydreigon, and things can start to go well for me, basically. The only thing that's slowing me down is that Confusion is going to be pretty annoying. I won't risk it because there's no point. And I'm doing pretty well. The most time you struggle with Darkrai Hydreigon is when you're struggling to get that stage 2, but when you do get that stage 2, life is so much easier. So I do get an okay hand. It's really not the best. I do get as well off, so I could get another Hydreigon into play if I do need to. I've got my Sableye as well, which I might use this turn, so I'm going to use this turn to just use Sableye, get some resources back, or I might just Confuse Ray and see if I can get the confusion on his Sableye to stop his from working. That's probably what I'll go for, because I don't have that much in my discard pile, to be honest. I got some rare candies, an Ultra Ball and a Level Ball, so nothing I really want. I'm going to Juniper next turn anyway, so I Dark Chance the energy onto Sableye and I get Tails on Confuse Ray, which doesn't matter too much. I do get 10 damage on the Sableye, which is kind of important. It means I can only snipe it twice instead of 3 times with Darkrai to get an extra prize. And it's onto his turn, where he starts by placing a Tornadus, a normal Tornadus, onto his bench. I don't mind that. It's an okay card. And he Ultra Balls away, a Mewtwo and a Catcher, which is pretty big for another Darkrai. He also does an energy switch from his Sableye onto his active Darkrai. Bianca's for a massive 5 and gets a Night Spear KO on my Sableye after he attaches an energy. So that's pretty good for him. He starts to get damage onto my board, takes the first prize. I'm not too bothered about him taking the first prize, because it still means he gets well, it still means he has to get through 3 Darkrai's to seal the game, or some more Hydreigons. So what I do is I just use the max potion on my Darkrai to negate his Night Spear damage. The best thing about my board position right now is that I've got the Tool Scrapper to get rid of his tools, and I've also got the Eviolite on mine, so I'm going to win the Darkrai Night Spear race kind of thing. So I bench another Darkrai because it doesn't matter too much, I don't want it to go on the discard pile, and play a Juniper as well to get a fresh hand of 7. So I do get another Hydreigon, I can play that, I get a Dark Patch too, which is pretty important because I can get a Night Spear on the board now, and start to take down his attackers. So we go with the Dark Patch onto the Darkrai onto the bench, attach to the active, and then I'm going to do some Dark Trancing around the board just to get all 3 energy onto the active, and start to use some Night Spears, get some damage on the board. And I'm expecting him not to run too many healing cards. I would expect him to play stuff like Potion, because the energy manipulation of a straight Darkrai deck without Hydreigon isn't that good, so Max Potion won't, well, it won't be that great in this deck, but we'll see what happens. And he does say he ends me into Amazing Hands. He ended me into a Rare Candy Hydreigon, and that's pretty much it. But there we go, that's how the game works sometimes. And I'm just debating what to put 30 damage on. I do go for the Tornadus, that makes it a 1-hit KO if he ever decides to use it. And I'm pretty much in a good position. He does Cherin, and then we'll see what he does. So he retreats into his Sableye and is probably going to use Junk Hunt this turn or Confuse Ray. I would have thought he'd use Junk Hunt just to get some resources back like Dark Patch and his Eviolites. And, okay, he does play Max Potion, which is pretty big because he's just had to Max Potion his fully powered Darkrai to only get 1 energy back and stop the 2-hit KO. This is what I was saying earlier, Max Potion isn't as good in the Darkrai, straight Darkrai version, because you can't take all the energy off and you're going to be losing a lot of energy. So he's gone from 4 energy on the field to just 1. So it gets his board position down, but at least he avoids the KO either way. He wasn't even able to Junk Hunt that turn, which is big for me. I can go ahead and Random Receiver and see what I can find. So an N would be okay here as well. But let's see what I get. A Juniper would be pretty harsh because I have some decent... Actually, it wouldn't be too bad. I've got a catch that I can use this turn, and I've got a Rare Candy I can get rid of. I can already attach the Blend because I haven't used my attachment just yet. And this Random Receiver's taken a very long time. PTCGO is still in beta, so it's ironing out some of the glitches, and we'll just see. I was hoping it hadn't frozen, and it was actually my top guard and N, so N isn't too bad. I would have preferred a Juniper actually, thinking over it, and I just attach a Blend to my Hydreigon. Just get an energy attachment on the field every single turn and catch up his Darkrai with the energy on, because energy is going to be what he really needs in play, because he's obviously runs Max Potion. I don't know if he runs more than 1, but using Max Potion on his end is going to deplete his energy a lot, so I'm going to force him to use his Max Potions to get rid of his own energy basically. And I go ahead and start putting damage on his other Darkrai's, because if he gets more Eviolites into play by Junk Hunt or something like that, I can still take those 2-hit KOs after Night Spearing. So he does use a Max Potion again, which is what I definitely wanted him to do, so he obviously runs more. I would guess he runs around 2 or 3, so he's got to be running out of them soon. I'll just check how many he's played, because I'm pretty weirded out by it, to be honest. But he does Junk Hunt, gets a Dark Patch and a Eviolite back. But what I was saying about the Max Potion, again, he is having to use his Dark Patches to get his energy back, and he's still only got 2 energy on the field, with needing to have energy switch in hand to get a Night Spear. So because he only got a Random Receiver and a Dark Patch, I would guess that he either has an energy in hand or an energy switch to get a Night Spear next turn. But I don't mind that too much. I'm probably going to need to use another catcher, which is a bit annoying because I don't have my Sableye anymore, which is where I said I probably do need more Sableyes in this deck, at least another 1 or 2, but I'm just trying to find the space. Because I do run things like 4 Dino and 4 Rare Candy in this deck, so that's where the space is really taken up. So from here, I don't want to play anything. I know his hand isn't that great because he didn't play a supporter last turn. I probably should have ended, to be honest, but I did like my hand, I did like having the catcher, and I just want to take that prize, that single prize. One thing to note is that he has that Tornadus on the bench, so taking that 1 prize off Sableye usually isn't too much of an issue for the Darkrai player, the straight Darkrai player, because you still have to get through multiple Darkrai's in... You still have to get through 3 Darkrai's to win the game. Because he's got that Tornadus on the bench, I'm still able to take that single prize and only have to get through 2 Darkrai's to win this game. So he does have a pretty decent hand. He's got a couple of Dark Patches. He doesn't have a normal energy attachment, so he's got a Night Spear, Darkrai, and he's got another Eviolite as well, because he got that from his Junk Hunt, and he has the N as well to disrupt me a little bit, but I pretty much draw the exact same hand with just an extra energy, so I'm feeling okay about my position. He does get a fresh Darkrai into the active position, and gets the first Eviolited Night Spear on me, which is great in the mirror match, but I do have lots of max potions left compared to his only 1 or 2, depending on if he runs 3 or 4. I would guess just the 1. So I'm still feeling good about my position, my hand is looking good, and right here I'm debating whether to play my max potion or not. The thing is, he does run Mewtwo, so if he gets a Mewtwo with 3 energy on it, he will be able to get a KO on me, I think. He runs energy switch, and he hasn't used many of them at all, which is what I was just checking. So he could get a KO if because he does run Mewtwo. So that was something I was scared about. I would usually wait an extra turn, because another Night Spear would only put me up to 140, and then I'll use my max potion later on. But for now, he can possibly get a KO with some crazy card combination. I don't want to lose that Darkrai just yet, so I do use the max potion, and it puts me pretty much back in the driving seat. I do have the ability to Dark Trance my energy back onto my Darkrai, and then get back onto the... basically get a step up on doing 70 to each other. So I do Ultra Ball some useless cards out my hand just to grab a Dino. That's just in case of N later on, and just to save my top decks from being pretty poor. So Dark Trance does take quite a while on PTCGO, because you have to do it one by one. You have to click the Hydreigon, click Dark Trance, and then have to move them all over. But it's fine, it's all working good. So something that I must note is that I do have a few blends in play. I managed to get another blend into play now, which means Giratina can come into play later on. If I get enough damage on the board and he still has Eviolites in play, then I can use Giratina to sweep up, regardless of whether he has Eviolite or not. So that's going to be a big player later on. I can also use Hydreigon's Dragon Blast for big KOs on a Night Speared for 70 Darkrai. That's pretty big as well. And I just go for the Night Spear on his Darkrai. So his board is looking okay. If I do have the chance to carry that Darkrai in the active position, I will with Dragon Blast, because he hasn't got much energy in play. He's used a lot of Dark Patches, and he hasn't got a Sableye in play either. So that will be my plan of action for next turn. I'm not sure what else he could do unless he draws into some more Dark Patches and Energy Switch, but I don't think he has many of them left. So he does attach just a single energy to his damaged Darkrai's. It's worth noting that one of them has 60, one of them has 30, I think, from what I can see. And that's pretty big. Those are going to die pretty quickly to double Night Spears, or just single ones as well. Single Dragon Blasts is pretty big, even with Eviolite on. So here I will go for the Dragon Blast, because that puts his board position a lot weaker, basically. Okay, maybe not. I'm just trying to get as much energy in play instead. I know his hand isn't that good, because he only played a Sharon last turn and didn't play much else. I probably should have just gone straight for the Dragon Blast there, but I'm sure I do it at the turn after. I would have just got that Dragon Blast in there a turn early, and been able to take that big threat off the field and stop that from happening. Another max potion. But I'm not too bothered about that. It puts less energy on his side of the field. He's used 3 max potions now. I'm sure he does not run 4. I'm just checking how many he's played. And now is another strong... It's pretty much the same board position as it was the previous turn. It's another strong chance to use Dragon Blast, get some KOs, and put his energy at very, very minimum. He had to use another energy switch that turn, so I'm just going to Dragon Blast. I should be able to Dragon Blast a couple of turns in a row, because I'm pretty sure he won't be able to get a Night Spear off next turn unless he has some decent cards in his hand, which he's only got a couple copies of left each in his deck. So I will go for a Dragon Blast, take this KO, and I'll be down to 3 prizes with him left with 5. I do have a lot of heavily damaged EXs on the field, which is quite a big thing to note. Simple catchers will be taking some decent prizes. I do have Eviolite on one of them, which will matter quite a bit, sorry, because it means it's a 2-hit KO rather than a 3. Rather than a 1, sorry, that's left on it. And I still have quite a few max potions left as well. I've got at least 2, I think. So I will debate playing the N. I do end up playing it because my hand is pretty bad, and then I end up ending myself into an even worse hand. I've got 2 Dinos, a Dark Patch, which isn't too bad, and 2 catchers. The good thing about the hand is the 2 catchers, the bad thing is no supporter and 2 Dinos. The good thing is I'm going to be taking 2 prizes, which is probably why I played the N already. I don't want to play an N after ending. I don't want to end myself down to 3 when I could just end myself down to 5 and get more chance of being able to follow up the second turn with another strong attack. So Dragon Blast, I was a bit dubious about playing Dragon Blast actually, because I know it has been a glitch in the past where the game just basically freezes because you play Dragon Blast, but we've had 2 lots of maintenance before this stream and it looks like they fixed it, which is good. So Giratina was in my prizes, which is big. I don't need to search that out now. And I also get another Dark Patch, so I'm going to have plenty of energy in play to do another Dragon Blast. The thing about using Dragon Blast is you do use up your energy quite quickly. If you use 2 Dragon Blasts in a row, that's 4 energy that's just off your field. And if you haven't got any Dark Patches left or Sableye, you're not going to be getting those back. So he places a Mewtwo down on the field, and as I predicted earlier, he has run out of ways to get Night Spear into play, and Mewtwo is his only option. Mewtwo isn't the greatest. He will be able to finish off at least one of those Darkrai's, I would have thought, but the rest will be going down to Dragon Blast. So because of that really lackluster turn from his end, I am able to get another energy into play via Dark Patch, and I'll be able to Dragon Blast this turn for another 2 prizes. If I was him, I probably would have retreated into the Tornadus just to give up the single prize rather than a double prize, but it doesn't matter too much. The single prize still would have mattered. I'm still going to need to catch it either way to finish out this game. So I do Dark Trance, the long process that it is, over to my Hydreigon, and I will be using Dragon Blast for the KO. I do put a Giratina down because I have just another attacker on the board, another fresh attacker that I can use without having to use Max Potion on my Darkrai's. So I do get another Tool Scrapper, which is big. He has no Eviolites in play. He'll have none left, I would have thought as well. And Dragon Blast will take his 2 prizes as I go down to 1 card, and he still has 5 prize cards left remaining. So a big thing now is N. If he plays N, that's going to be a very strong move. I do have the win in hand, as you can see. So if my hand stays the same, I will win. If it doesn't stay the same, then he has a minimal chance to get back into this game. There's not enough energy on his field or ways to get energy back on his field to come back into this game. But we'll see what happens, as he does have the N. I do have a few dead cards in my deck, like the double Dinos, as you saw just then. But I do draw a Max Potion, which is a really good card to draw. And what do you know, he does still have Dark Patches and Eviolites. He seems to have played a lot of Dark Patches. That's got to be one of his last ones. And he's got another Max Potion, so he does play 4 Max Potion, and he is just going to X-Ball me for minimal damage. 50, 60, 70, 80 damage, so it's going to be a 3-hit KO. That's the thing about Mewtwo. I do have another energy. I can Max Potion my fresh Darkrai on the bench with the Eviolite, which gives me quite a big advantage for the rest of the game, and I am going to just shred for 90 damage, which means he gets past the Eviolite, because I have run out of Tool Scrappers. Shred's amazing for this kind of situation. You need 2 blends and a dark just to do 90 damage, regardless of whether they have Eviolite attached or not. It just gets rid of it gets past all of the effects on the defending Pokemon. So here I'm just Dark Trancing energy off my damaged Darkrai onto my fresh one just to save the energy in case a catcher happens, and I will shred for 90 damage, putting him on a timer basically. He does have that fresh Darkrai on the bench and that Tornadus, but I will be able to take a big KO on that Tornadus with Giratina's second attack, Dragon Pulse I think it's called, which does 130, and then I discard the 2 or 3 cards off the top of my deck, either or. It's pretty good. So here he says I drew like a god and I didn't have darks in the discard till turn 6 or 8. I'm pretty sure that's untrue. We both didn't have darks in the discard for a while, and we both had pretty similar starts, I feel. I just had a good Rare Candy Hydreigon, but that's just how the game goes sometimes. Max Potion really hurt him in the end, because he just ran out of energy basically, which is something that happens when you don't have the energy versatility as you do with Darkrai Hydreigon. So he is just going to straight up retreat into his fresh Darkrai because he needs to basically. I can just, if his Mewtwo stays in the active position, I can just shred for the KO. And I do get a pretty magical top deck of Professor Juniper, but I don't draw into a way to win this turn, which is pretty weird. But I do draw into an Ultra Ball, 3 Rare Candies, a Random Receiver, and more junk. So only one of those cards is pretty useful. I guess the Ultra Ball is too, as I'm doing now. I'm just getting rid of useless cards just in case of another N, which can still happen. And I'll just search out the Dino. I've got 3 catchers left in my deck, so that Juniper 7 didn't net me the catcher I needed to win. I'm sure he's pretty upset that I did top deck that Juniper, but that's how the game goes. I'm getting the best luck out of the two, and he is running out of energy as I did predict in the beginning. So from here I do get to shred on his EX, which means whatever he does now, he needs a fresh attacker or another max potion, which he definitely doesn't have, or the game is over for him. And you'll see a catcher on one of my damaged Darkrais. He'll play a Juniper, and I'm pretty sure he can't really draw anything. He decks himself out as well, which means he's lost, sorry, and that'll be the game. He scoops in the end. So thanks for watching this game. Thanks for the game. It was a really close game in kind of the middle. I was getting a bit scared about that Mewtwo and all his max potions as well. We're keeping him in the game, but they were also losing him in the late game, if you know what I mean. His energy were running out, and he was running out of resources too. So thanks for the game, thanks for watching this video. Please do subscribe, like, comment, and all that good stuff if you did enjoy the video. And I'll be bringing you more of these soon. I'll be streaming again next week. Hopefully you'll see it in your sub boxes when it comes, or when I schedule it rather, I should say. So yeah, be prepared for that. Do tune in next time, and if you haven't seen it already, you can click the annotation on your screen to go straight to the 2.5 hour stream, the full version. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.